The sky above Earth, usually a gentle blue, was torn apart by a shadow. A ship, vast and silent like a mountain floating in the sea of space, blocked out the sun. It did not look friendly. It was all sharp edges and cold, dark metal. On the surface, people looked up, their hearts filled with fear. They did not know if this was an invasion. Soon, a message came from the giant ship. It was not a declaration of war. It was an invitation to talk. The leaders of Earth, gathered in a secure bunker, spoke to the visitors. A screen flickered to life, showing a creature that made everyone gasp. It was tall, covered in shiny green scales like a lizard, with sharp yellow eyes. This was Commander Kvor of the Xylosian Galactic Union. He spoke, and his voice was deep and full of pride. "People of Earth," he said, "we are the Xylosians. We are the greatest hunters in the galaxy. We explore new worlds. We find the strongest, fiercest predator on your planet, and then we hunt it. If we succeed, your world joins our union. This is our way." The human leaders were confused. It was a very strange way to introduce yourself. Commander Kvor continued, a smirk on his lipless mouth. He showed them holograms of his great hunts. Monsters from other worlds appeared in the room. A giant beast with 6 legs and claws like swords. A flying horror that dripped acid from its fangs. The humans watched, their faces pale. These creatures were nightmares. Then, Kvor asked to see Earth's greatest predators. The humans showed him videos of their best. A mighty lion roaring on the savannah. A massive tiger moving through the jungle. A great white shark breaking the ocean surface. For a moment, there was silence on the alien ship. Then, a sound came through the speakers. It was laughter. The Xylosians were laughing. It was not a kind laugh. It was a mean, mocking laugh. "This is your best," Kvor said, trying to stop his laughter. "These are soft, slow, primitive animals. They are a joke. Our younglings hunt bigger prey for sport." The human leaders felt a hot anger. Their planet, their amazing animals, were being insulted. Just as the situation felt hopeless, a man stepped forward. He was not a soldier or a politician. He was Dr. Eris Thorn, a biologist. He was a quiet man who loved Earth's creatures. He had spent his life studying them. He saw the beauty and strength that the arrogant aliens were too blind to see. He looked at the screen, directly at the laughing Commander Kvor. His voice was calm but firm. "You judge what you do not understand," Dr. Thorn said. The laughter stopped. Kvor looked at this bold, simple human. "What did you say?" he asked. Dr. Thorn took a deep breath. This was a crazy idea, but it was the only one he had. "You hunt for sport. You hunt for pride. You see only size and teeth. You do not see the true spirit of a creature. You have mocked our world, so I propose a wager." The room was completely silent. "We have one creature. Just one. We will release it on your hunting ground, your hunter's moon. If your great hunters can kill it in 1 galactic week, you win. Earth is yours. But if after 1 week, this one small animal is still alive, you leave. And you never, ever come back." The silence was broken by a new wave of laughter from the aliens. It was the loudest laugh yet. They thought this human had gone completely mad. What could one small Earth animal possibly do against the greatest hunters in the galaxy? The laughter from the alien ship finally died down. Commander Kvor's scaled face was a picture of amusement and disbelief. He looked at the calm human biologist, Dr. Thorn, as if he were a funny insect. "You are serious?" Kvor asked, his voice dripping with mockery. "You would bet your entire world on one animal?" Dr. Thorn did not smile. He simply nodded. "I am serious. Do you accept the wager?" The human leaders behind him were nervous. This was a huge risk, but they saw the confidence in Dr. Thorn's eyes. They had no other choice. Their weapons were useless against the alien ship. This was a chance. Kvor discussed it with his crew. They all agreed it was the easiest victory they would ever have. "Very well, human," Kvor said, his tone now official. "The wager is accepted. The rules are set. We will take your creature to our designated hunting moon. It is a place we use for our greatest challenges. It is filled with dangers you cannot imagine." The humans watched as coordinates were sent. The hunter's moon was a harsh, jungle world with a purple sky and 2 suns. It was a deadly place. The next step was choosing the champion. Everyone on Earth was watching the live broadcast. The entire planet held its breath. People expected a grand choice. They thought Dr. Thorne would select a powerful bear or a clever pack of wolves. Maybe a massive saltwater crocodile. The Xylosians expected the same. They prepared a large, strong cage for a big beast. Dr. Thorne walked into a quiet hangar. The aliens watched on their screen, curious. Dr. Thorne went not to a big cage, but to a small, strong metal box. It was about the size of a suitcase. The Xylosians leaned closer to their screen, confused. Was this a trick? Dr. Thorne placed the box on a table and opened the lid. Inside, sitting on some straw, was a creature. It was about 3 feet long, low to the ground, with strong legs and sharp claws. Its fur was mostly black with a wide gray stripe running from its head to its tail. It had a flat, tough-looking head and small, bright eyes that shone with a strange intelligence. It looked up at the light, sniffed the air, and made a low, grumbling sound. It was a honey badger. The Xylosians were silent for a moment. Then, the laughter started again. It was even louder than before. "What is that?" Commander Kvor roared with amusement. "A furry worm? A snack for our smallest drones? This is your champion? This is your joke." Dr. Thorne ignored the laughter. He looked at the honey badger with respect. The media on Earth had already given it a name, Stripe. Dr. Thorne spoke softly to the Xylosians. "You hunt for sport and for trophies. This creature does not. It only knows one thing: how to survive. It does not know how to give up. That is why it will win." His words were met with more mocking sounds from the aliens. They were sure the humans had lost their minds. The bet was already over. They agreed to the terms once more, already celebrating their easy victory. A small transport ship came down to collect the champion. Dr. Thorne carefully carried the box onto the ship. The alien crew members sneered at the small container. They did not treat it with care. The journey to the hunter's moon was short. The ship landed in a clearing under the strange purple sky. The air was thick and humid. Strange, loud cries came from the alien jungle. An alien soldier roughly took the box and carried it to the edge of the trees. He opened the lid and dumped the honey badger onto the ground. "Good luck, you little joke," he said, laughing as he ran back to his ship. The door closed, and the ship flew away, leaving the small animal alone on a world of monsters. Stripe the honey badger stood up and shook the dirt from its fur. It sniffed the strange air. Its nose twitched. It smelled new smells, strange plants, and meat. It was hungry. It was not scared. It was never scared. It only cared about finding food. It started digging near a rock, looking for grubs. It had no idea it was being watched by the entire galaxy. The 1-week timer had begun. The alien ship flew away, leaving the small honey badger alone on the strange moon. The air smelled different. The dirt felt different under its claws. The animal called Stripe was not scared. It did not know how to be scared. Its small brain only cared about a few things. It was hungry. It needed to find food, and it needed a safe place to sleep. It started to dig near a weird-looking purple rock, its powerful claws tearing into the soil. It was looking for grubs or worms to eat. High above, in the Xylosian mothership, Commander Kvor and his crew watched on their big screens. They were still laughing about the humans' silly choice. "This is the great predator of Earth," Kvor said, shaking his head. "It digs in the dirt like a simpleton. This will be over quickly." He decided to start with an easy test. He sent an order to release a group of hunter drones. These were small, flying machines with weak, paralyzing lasers. They were usually used for tracking and for annoying big animals, not for killing. 3 drones zoomed down to the moon's surface. They found Stripe still digging. The drones surrounded the honey badger. They beeped and flashed their lights. Stripe stopped digging. It looked up at the noisy machines. It did not like them. It made a low, grumbling sound of annoyance. One of the drones fired its weak laser. It hit Stripe on its back. The laser was designed to sting and confuse a large animal. On the honey badger's incredibly thick and loose skin, it felt like a small pinch. It was more annoying than painful. Stripe shook its body. The drone fired again. This was enough. Stripe's patience was gone. In a sudden blur of fast movement, it jumped at the closest drone. It was surprisingly quick. Its strong jaws clamped down on one of the drone's metal legs. The Xylosians on the ship watched, their smiles fading. A cracking sound came through the audio speakers. The honey badger's bite was immensely powerful. It crunched through the metal leg like it was a dry stick. The damaged drone sparked and fell to the ground, beeping in distress. Stripe was not finished. It pounced on the fallen machine, biting and clawing at it, tearing it into pieces of scrap metal. The other two drones flew away quickly, their programming telling them to retreat from the unexpected violence. On the mothership, the command room was completely silent. The only sound was the angry grumbling of the small animal on the screen, which was now going back to its digging, ignoring the destroyed drone completely. The joke did not seem so funny anymore. Commander Kvor's face was tight with anger and shock. His crew looked at each other, unsure what to say. Their simple drone had been destroyed in seconds by a creature that was supposed to be harmless. "It has a strong bite for its size," one of the officers said, trying to explain the failure. Kvor slammed his scaled fist on the console. "Enough of these games. No more drones," he shouted. This thing has spirit. It is time to release a real hunter. Let us see how it fights something with teeth and claws." He turned to a screen showing different alien creatures in cages. He selected one. Release the skitterclaws. A pack of 3. Let them earn their meal. On the moon, Stripe had found a few bugs to eat. It was not a full meal, but it was a start. It suddenly lifted its head. Its sharp ears had heard something. A new sound was coming from the thick, alien jungle. It was a clicking, chattering sound. Something was moving quickly through the tall, razor-sharp grass. Something was coming for it. The real hunt had finally begun. Stripe turned to face the noise, its body low to the ground, ready for a fight. It was not thinking about winning or losing. It was just thinking about the next thing that was trying to cause it trouble. And it was ready to remove that trouble. The clicking sound from the jungle got louder. The grass parted, and 3 creatures stepped into the clearing. These were the skitterclaws. They were about the size of large dogs, but they looked like nightmare insects. They had 6 long, thin legs that ended in sharp points. Their bodies were covered in a hard, shiny shell. They had no eyes, but their heads were just big mouths full of needle-like teeth. They could smell the honey badger. They chattered their teeth together, making that horrible clicking noise. They spread out, surrounding Stripe. On the Xylosian ship, Commander Kvor leaned forward, a cold smile on his face. "Now we will see some real action," he said to his crew. "The skitterclaws are fast and vicious. Their bite carries a nasty poison. That furry little beast will be paralyzed in seconds." Down on the moon, Stripe faced the 3 new creatures. It did not run. It stood its ground. It made a loud, rattling growl from deep in its chest. It was a warning. The first skitterclaw lunged. It was incredibly fast. It tried to bite Stripe's leg. Stripe was just as fast. It dodged to the side and lashed out with its own powerful jaws, biting down hard on one of the creature's thin legs. There was a loud crack as the leg broke. The skitterclaw screeched in pain and pulled back. The other 2 attacked at the same time. One of them managed to sink its teeth into Stripe's back. The poison entered the honey badger's body. On the ship, the Xylosians cheered. "It is done. The poison will work fast," one officer said. But the cheering stopped quickly. Stripe shook its body violently, its loose, tough skin making it hard for the creature to hold on. The famous honey badger metabolism, built to handle snake venom, started to work on the alien poison. Stripe seemed annoyed, not paralyzed. It twisted its body with shocking strength and bit the skitterclaw right on its head. The hard shell cracked under the pressure. The alien creature went limp. Stripe was hurt. A little blood showed on its fur where the teeth had pierced the skin. But the pain only made it angrier. It was a fury now. It turned on the second skitterclaw, the one with the broken leg. It did not fight like a noble hunter. It fought dirty. It went for the legs, the eyes, the soft parts. It was a brutal, messy, and terrifying fight. The 2 remaining creatures, hurt and confused by this ball of pure rage, started to back away. They were predators used to easy prey. They were not used as something that fought back without any fear. They chattered in fear and turned, skittering back into the jungle as fast as their legs could carry them. Stripe tried to chase them for a few steps, but then stopped. It was tired, and its wound was sore. It walked over to the dead skitterclaw. It sniffed the body, then it started to eat. On the Xylosian ship, the silence was heavy and embarrassing. They had just watched their hunters run away from the joke animal. Commander Kvor's face was a mask of fury. His claws were digging into the control console. "This is impossible," he roared. "How is it not dead? The poison should have melted its nerves." The crew had no answers. They just watched the screen as the small earth animal finished its meal. Down on the moon, Stripe felt better with a full stomach. The pain from the bite was already fading. It needed to rest now. It found a small hole under the roots of a large, twisted tree. It dug the hole a little bigger and then crawled inside, curling into a ball to sleep. It was safe and hidden. Back on Earth, people were watching the live feed. They had seen the whole fight. At first, they were terrified. Then they were amazed. Now, they were starting to feel a strange sense of pride. This small, tough animal was fighting for them. Cheers erupted in cities around the world. Dr. Eris Thorne watched from his lab, a small smile on his face. He knew. He always knew. The Xylosians only understood power. They were about to get a lesson in pure, stubborn survival. Commander Kvor saw the hope on the human news channels. His anger burned even hotter. This could not stand. He would not be humiliated by a mammal. He turned to his screen and selected a new creature. A much, much bigger one. The icon on the screen simply said, Venom Gore. The fight was not over. It was about to get much worse. The mood on the Xylosian ship was dark and quiet. The crew moved carefully, afraid to anger their commander any further. Commander Kvor stared at the screen, showing the honey badger sleeping peacefully in its den. That small, furry creature had made his mighty hunters look like fools. It had broken his drone. It had killed one skitterclaw and sent the others running away in fear. The shame was too much to bear. He could not let this continue. He needed to end this now, with absolute and total power. He would crush the earth animal into dust. His finger, tipped with a sharp claw, pressed a button on his console. A new screen lit up, showing a massive cage deep inside the ship. Inside that cage was a monster. This was the Venom Gore, the most fearsome predator on the entire Hunter's Moon. It was a huge reptile, as big as a truck. Its skin was like rough gray stone. A row of sharp, poisonous quills ran down its back. Its head was mostly mouth, filled with rows of teeth like daggers. "Release it," Kvor said, his voice a low and dangerous growl. "Release the Venom Gore right on top of that creature's den. Let us see how it fights a real predator." Down on the moon, the ground near Stripe's den began to vibrate. A large transport beam flashed, and the Venom Gore appeared. It was huge and heavy. It sniffed the air, smelling the blood from the earlier fight. It also smelled something new, something small and warm sleeping underground. It stomped over to the hole under the tree roots. It already knew where its prey was hiding. It did not need to hunt. The prey was delivered to it. The giant creature used its powerful claws to start digging, tearing away the roots and dirt. Inside the den, Stripe woke up. The whole world was shaking. It smelled something big and dangerous right outside its door. It backed up as far as it could into the hole, its fur standing on end. It made a loud, hissing growl, warning the thing to go away. The Venom Gore ignored the warning. It finally broke through into the den. Its huge head filled the entrance. It saw the small, angry animal backed into a corner. It lunged forward, its massive jaws snapping shut. It caught Stripe in its mouth. The Xylosians on the ship watched, their hearts pounding. This was it. The powerful jaws closed with a force that could crush metal. Kvor finally smiled. It is done. The little pest is finished. The Venom Gore shook its head, sure that its prey was dead. But the honey badger was not dead. Its loose, thick skin and strong muscles saved it. The teeth had pierced the skin, causing bad wounds, but they had not crushed its bones. Stripe was trapped, hurt, and very, very angry. It did not play dead. It did not give up. In pure rage, It twisted its body inside the monster's mouth. It used its sharp claws to scratch at the soft inside of the creature's gums. Then it bit down as hard as it could on the venom gore's tongue. The monster roared in surprise and pain. It was not used to its food fighting back after being caught. It tried to crush the thing in its mouth harder, but the pain was too great. It shook its head violently, trying to dislodge the painful creature. Finally, it opened its mouth wide to roar again, and Stripe saw its chance. It pushed itself free and fell to the ground, bleeding from several deep bites. The venom gore was furious. Its mouth was bleeding and in great pain. It tried to stomp on the small animal, but Stripe, even hurt, was quick. It dodged the massive feet and charged forward, right under the beast's belly. It started to bite and claw at the softer skin there. The fight was not a beautiful battle. It was a nasty, brutal, and bloody struggle. The huge venom gore was powerful, but it was slow and could not reach the small creature under its body. The honey badger was a ball of pure pain and anger, refusing to die. After several long minutes of this, the giant creature had enough. It was in too much pain. This meal was not worth the trouble. With a frustrated and painful roar, it turned and lumbered away, back into the deep jungle, leaving a trail of blood behind. Stripe was left alone again, badly wounded, but alive. It had won again. It limped over to a puddle of water to drink, its body aching. It needed to find a new, safer place to rest and heal. The fight for survival was getting harder, but the honey badger did not know how to quit. It only knew how to survive. The command deck of the Xylosian ship was a tomb. No one spoke. No one moved. They could only watch the screen in utter disbelief. The mighty venom gore, their ultimate hunter, was retreating into the jungle, beaten and broken by the small, furry creature it was supposed to crush. The honey badger was still alive. It was bleeding and limping, but it was alive. Commander Kvor felt a hot shame burn through his scales. His own crew was afraid to look at him. He could feel their silent judgment. He had promised them a quick victory, an easy new world to add to their empire. Instead, he had given them a humiliation that would be told across the galaxy for generations. The great Xylosian hunters, defeated by a beast that looked like a joke. He saw the hope growing on the human news channels. He saw them cheering for their champion. His anger became a cold, hard knot in his stomach. This could not continue. There was only one thing left to do. He stood up for his command chair. "Bring me my armor," he commanded, his voice low and dangerous. The crew jumped to obey. They brought him his personal battle armor, polished and gleaming. They handed him his plasma spear, a weapon that could cut through steel. "Sir, what are you doing?" one of his officers asked nervously. "I am ending this farce myself," Kvor said, putting on his helmet. "I will hunt this Earth rodent personally. I will bring its head back as a trophy and restore our honor." Down on the moon, Stripe was in pain. The bites from the venom gore were deep and hurt with every step. The animal needed to rest, but it also knew it was not safe out in the open. It needed to hide. It limped towards a rocky area, hoping to find a crack in the stones to crawl into. It was focused on its own survival, on the next step on the pain. It did not know a new hunter was coming. High above, a small personal pod shot down from the mothership and landed in the clearing. The door opened, and Commander Kvor stepped out. He looked huge in his powerful armor. His plasma spear hummed with energy. He activated his scanner. It quickly found the heat signature of the wounded honey badger. A cruel smile spread across his face. This would be easy. He followed the signal to the rocky area. He moved quietly, a master hunter stalking his prey. He found Stripe quickly. The honey badger was trying to use its claws to break open a hard-shelled nut it had found. It was completely focused on its food, ignoring its wounds. Kvor stood over it. The animal looked so small and weak next to him. "Any last thoughts, little beast?" he mocked, raising his glowing plasma spear. He aimed it carefully. He wanted a clean kill. Just as his finger tightened on the trigger, Stripe finally cracked the nut open. The sound made Kvor hesitate for a single second. Stripe looked up from its meal. It saw the large, shiny creature standing over it. It did not see a mighty alien commander. It did not feel fear. It just saw a big, noisy thing that was disturbing it while it was trying to eat. Kfor fired his spear. A bolt of sizzling plasma shot out. But Stripe was already moving. It was not fast because it was a hero. It was fast because it was annoyed. The plasma bolt missed, burning a hole in the rock behind it. The sudden movement and loud noise confirmed it for Stripe. This big thing was trouble. It charged. It did not run away. It ran directly at the giant hunter's legs. Kfor was stunned. He expected the animal to flee. He was not prepared for an attack. He tried to aim his spear down, but Stripe was already there. The honey badger sank its powerful teeth into the armor on Kfor's ankle. The armor was strong, but the bite was incredibly powerful. Kfor screamed in shock and pain as he felt the pressure through the metal. He stumbled, trying to shake the creature off. He lost his balance and fell to the ground with a heavy crash. His plasma spear clattered away from his hand. He was on his back, defeated not by a great warrior, but by a wounded animal attacking his ankle. Stripe let go of the ankle and scrambled up onto Kfor's chest plate. It stood on him, looking down at his helmeted face. It was bleeding, panting, and its eyes burned with a fierce, wild light. It snarled, a low, rattling sound that promised more violence. For the first time in his long life of hunting, Commander Kfor, leader of the Xylosian Galactic Union, felt true and absolute fear. He was helpless on the ground, at the mercy of the creature he had called a joke. Commander Kfor lay on his back, completely helpless. The weight of the honey badger on his chest was small, but it felt like a mountain. He stared up into the creature's fierce, intelligent eyes. It was bleeding from its wounds. Its fur was matted with dirt and alien blood, but its spirit was unbroken. It snarled, a raw and primitive sound that promised more pain. Kfor closed his eyes, waiting for the end. He expected those powerful jaws to tear into his throat, to finish the fight the way any predator would. But the attack never came. After a long moment, he opened his eyes. Stripe was still on his chest, but it was no longer looking at him. It was sniffing at a pouch on his utility belt. The pouch contained his high-energy ration bars. The honey badger's small brain had already moved on from the fight. The big shiny thing was no longer moving, so was no longer a threat. Now it smelled food. With a quick bite, it ripped the pouch open and pulled out a ration bar. It crunched through the wrapper and the bar in seconds, swallowing it down. Then, with a final dismissive grunt, it climbed off Kfor's chest. It did not look back. It simply walked away, limping slightly, to find a quiet place to sleep. It had won. The mighty commander was not even worth the energy to finish off. The insult was deeper than any defeat. Kfor lay there for a long time, stunned by the sheer disregard. He had been beaten and then ignored. The humiliation was total. Slowly, he pushed himself up. He found his plasma spear and limped back to his pod, his body aching and his pride shattered. The journey back to the mothership was silent. His crew saw his damaged armor and his ashamed face, and they asked no questions. They already knew. The 1-week timer was counting down its final minutes. Everyone watched the main screen. It showed Stripe the honey badger. It had found a new den under the wreckage of the first hunter drone it had destroyed. It was curled into a ball, sleeping peacefully. Its chest rose and fell in a steady rhythm. It was alive. The timer hit 0. A loud, clear tone echoed through the Xylosian ship. It was over. They had lost. According to their own laws, according to the wager they agreed to, they had to leave Earth alone forever. Commander Kfor stood before his crew, his head low. Set a course away from this system, he said, his voice hollow. The wager is fulfilled. We will not speak of this world again. The huge alien ship turned and moved away from Earth, disappearing into the stars, its pride left broken on a moon below. On Earth, there was a moment of silence, followed by an explosion of joy. People cheered, cried, and hugged each other in the streets. They were safe. A humble biologist and a stubborn animal had saved their world. Dr. Eris Thorne became a hero. Reporters from every news channel surrounded him. One of them shoved a microphone in his face and asked the question everyone wanted to know. Dr. Thorne, how did you know? How did you know that one small honey badger could defeat the entire Xylosian hunting legion? Dr. Thorne smiled a tired but happy smile. He looked into the camera. We did not send our biggest or our strongest, he explained. We send our most stubborn. On Earth, we have a saying about the honey badger. We say, the honey badger doesn't care. It is true. It does not care about your rules. It does not care about your pride. It does not care about your mighty ships or your powerful weapons. It only cares about one thing, surviving. And today, it survived for all of us. The screen then showed a final, beautiful shot from the hunter's moon. Stripe was alive and well. It was fat and happy, its wounds healed. It was sleeping in a warm nest made from the shredded wires and metal of the Xylosian drone. It was the king of its own world. It had not won a war. It had simply gone about its life, and in doing so, it had saved a planet. And it did not care. It was already asleep.